it's Eric Jones here with another high performance coaching chalk talk. So today what we're going to do is we're going to do the game analysis. You'll recall in my first video I said I was going to go out and play, get a little baseline. So I did that, went out and played in a tournament, got some results. It's time to analyze those. So that's what today's presentation is. It's a game analysis. The goal here is I'm going to show you what I do to analyze my game, and hopefully that will help you analyze your game to work a little bit smarter in your practice and get better a little bit faster. Let's start. Here's the process that I use. The idea is go out and get a baseline performance level. That's what I did when I signed up for a tournament and went out and played. So I got my baseline performance established. When I played, I took stats. Now we're going to do a game analysis. That's the focus of this presentation here today. Lastly, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do an interpretation of the results after we see what some of the stats are and show you how I use that to frame my practice sessions. Alright, let's do a quick review. I'm going to talk a little bit about the goals that I set for myself when I went out and I played, and then we're going to work on the stats. I'm going to show you those, and I'm going to show you how I keep my stats and what I do when I track my performance out on the golf course, and then lastly I'm going to show you my interpretation of what it is that I do. Okay, here we go. The goals when I went out to play was, number one, get an idea of the state of my current golf game. I've been practicing for a while, so what I really want to know is what are the key things that I needed to work on in my practice. The only way to really tell that is to go out, play a little bit of golf, and say, alright, here are the places where I can improve, here are the things that I'm also doing really well. One of the other goals that I had was I wanted to just go out and have a little bit of fun. Lastly, I wanted to play smart golf. That means I wanted to make good decisions when it came to course navigation, good decisions when it came to making game management choices, and I also wanted to work on the mental aspects of my game to start getting myself mentally tough for playing tournament golf. Okay, let's take a quick review of the stats. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go look at the score tracker, and I'm going to show you exactly what I do, and then we'll get an interpretation of it. Let's get started. Okay, I'm going to show you here my single round scoring sheet. These are the stats that I use that come off of the results when I play. But the first thing I'm going to do is, this might look a little bit overwhelming the first time you look at it. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to show you a screenshot of a scorecard that I keep so you can see what information I use. I just keep a separate scorecard for myself when I'm out there playing, and this isn't my actual scorecard. The one that I used got a little bit beat up because of the rain and stuff like that, but I want to show you exactly what it is that I use to keep track of my score. So I keep my own separate scorecard, and so what I do when I keep score is I keep track of my score plus my putts. I keep track of fairways. Did I hit a fairway, yes or no? I keep track of my greens. Did I hit a green in regulation, yes or no? There's a line here that shows me what par is for the hole, so I enter those in. I keep track of my up and downs when I miss a green. I also pace off all of my putts. So this is in feet, so here's how far I get for my first putt. Here's for my second putt. A couple of mental skills that I keep. This one was focused on pre-shot routine and target focus. Those are pretty much exactly the same mental skills focuses that I used on my when I played in this tournament, and so we'll keep some of those same stats. So you can see right here, this is exactly what the score looks like. A 5, I missed a fairway, missed a green, didn't get up and down. My first putt was 16 feet, second putt was 2 feet. Okay, so let's go back to the score tracker and see exactly what the stats are, what they look like for my round. Here's how I start. I'll input the golf course name, and then as I go along, what I do is I input the par. Here's what par is. So I just take the scorecard, write all those things down, and then I go in and I enter my score. And what I do is I color code each one of those. So gray is a bogey, white is a par, green is a birdie, and way over here at the other side, this purple is a double bogey. Then I take the information right from my scorecard. Here's my score, here's my number of putts, and then this tells me whether I made a par, birdie, bogey, double bogey, eagle, or something else. An O is a bogey. And here's where I enter my information about fairways. Did I hit them, yes or no? So this is pretty simple. All I have to do is enter yes or no. So no here, I'm on this first hole I missed a fairway, and the next one missed the green. That left me with an up and down situation, which I did not hit, partly because my first putt was 16 feet, then my return putt was 2 feet. Down here at the bottom, I keep track of how many times I do my pre-shot routine and how well I keep my target focus. And you'll see today I was very focused on doing a pre-shot routine, and actually I did one every single shot, so that was really good. I will say that one of my issues was a little bit more target focus. So we'll get to that, because that's really the mental skills as we go through and take a look at the results and what the results say, and I'll spend a little bit more time on the mental skills, mental side of it. So here's the net par 71. I shot a 77. I had 32 putts. Out of 14 greens, I hit. Out of 14 fairways, I hit 8 fairways. I hit 9 greens in regulation. My average length of my first putt was 20 feet. Average second putt was 3 feet. I had three putts for the round. Here's another telling stat for my up and downs. I was 40%. And that's not quite the percentage I would be hoping to get. I did have one penalty shot. I'll talk about that as we go. Here's my mental skills summary. I did really well on my pre-shot routine. A little bit less focused on my target. Sometimes I got a little bit wrapped up in mechanics rather than doing the targets. So this is a real quick breakdown of what I did for my scores. Now, normally, let's go back up and just do the overall stats. 77, I would say, not a great score, but considering how little that I've played, this was a good score, especially for just first time coming out and really trying to get my feet wet again after having not played for very much. I will say, though, that because of the conditions, the rain and the wind and etc., the average score for just about everybody was probably 3 to 4 shots higher for the entire field. So even with a score of 77, I think I tied for 8th out of 60-some players, something. So, not bad. And for me, I was quite pleased with the way I played overall throughout the round. So here's my overall stats compared to par. Let's go down and break down some of the specifics, and then I'll tell you how I'm using this information to help me isolate and focus in on where it is that I need to practice. Down here at the bottom, you'll see a little summary of how many pars, birdies, bogeys, doubles, etc. that I had throughout the round. So I had 5 pars, which was 28% of my round, 4 birdies, which was really good, 8 bogeys, not so good, and 1 double bogey. And so this gives me a real quick snapshot of how I played, what my performance was. Another key thing that I look at is what's my average first putt when I hit a green in regulation. So up here in the corner, you see that my average first putt was 20 feet, but that includes putts for up and down opportunities. So what I want to do is pull out the information of how close I am when I'm actually hitting a green. And you see that my average first putt is 26 feet. That's not very good. The second is what's the average length of my putts when I have an up and down. So that's at 14 feet. Also not very good. I'm always trying to get that under 10 feet and ideally closer to 6 feet. You make a lot more of those putts. So those are a couple of stats that I keep, and my little score tracker program pulls all of that stuff out for me. I'll give you my interpretation here in just a minute. We're just going through a quick review of the stats. Here's another one that I look at, and this is really kind of the key one because we'll get into the analysis here right now. Whenever I hit a fairway, I hit par or better 6 of 8 times. In other words, 75%. Now compare that to when I made a bogey. When I missed a fairway 5 out of 6 times, I made a bogey. So what jumps out immediately from that is I got to hit more fairways if I want to make more pars. So that's one of the key insights I take away from this. 8 fairways in a round is not bad. It's not great. I prefer, getting somewhere at least in the 9 to 10 range. When I was playing more often, I was averaging much closer to 10. And so that's really a key statistic for me. How many fairways am I hitting in regulation? But now when I compare that to how many times I make par or birdie when I hit a fairway versus how many times I make bogey when I miss a fairway, what really jumps out is, boy, I got to hit a lot more fairways. So that tells me that one of the key priorities for me coming out of this practice round is hit more fairways. And I'll tell you what that means, because I'm going to take my practice sessions and I'm going to focus more on direction. In other words, hitting my balls to the target off the tee than I will on necessarily shot shape or distance. The second priority that I would normally look at right here is my up and down percentage. Normally when I see a percentage at 40%, I would immediately take that information and say, well, I need to spend some time on my short game. But what really happened was a lot of my approach shots were 7, 8, 9 iron shots into the green, and pretty consistently for most of the day I was long. 10 to 15 yards long compared to where I wanted my ball to land for the target. And with a lot of pins back and a really severely sloped green, what that meant, I was short-sighting myself a lot. And so from those positions, it's really hard to get up and down. So I'm less concerned about that, the up and down, as I am about controlling the distance for my approach shots. So the real issue behind the up and downs is leaving myself in a position where I could make an up and down. And that's because I wasn't hitting the right yardages with my approach shots. So when I practice, then I've now pulled two priorities out of these stats. One is I need to work on my driver, and I need to improve my accuracy, being able to hit to targets. The second thing is I'm going to go out and I'm going to gap my approach shot. So 7, 8, 9 irons, maybe even 6 irons. I'm really going to work on figuring out how far I hit those on a normal, comfortable swing. So those are going to be my two priorities. The last priority is for me 32 putts, which is it's okay. That's kind of a minimum standard. I like to hit 30 putts or less throughout the round. I did have three putts. They were very difficult greens to putt on. The main thing that cost me the 3 putts were downhill, left to right, sliding putts. And there was just no way for me to get comfortable over those putts. I didn't feel comfortable hitting them. So I'm going to get out on the putting green and I'm going to work on relatively short, 3 and 4 foot downhill, left to right putts on pretty severely sloping greens and figure out how to get myself more comfortable. So this is the way I use my stats to see what it is, how I performed, and where I need to use that information to focus on my game. Okay, so that's a quick review of the score tracker, and that's where my stats come from. And here are the priorities that I take away from my game. Number 1, hit more fairways. The second priority for me is going to be yardage control, and that's primarily with my approach clubs, 6, 7, 8, 9 irons, and I really want to nail my yardages. How far do I hit them? And then my last priority is short downhill, left to right putts. Now there's 2 more things that I'm going to be working on, and these are things that I did really well, and that is my scoring shots. So when I was at 78, 104, 117, 127, I hit the ball really well. So those are high confidence yardages for me. I feel very comfortable when I get at those yardages, and so that's an area of strength. The idea is I want to always be playing from my areas of strength when I get out on the golf course. So I'm going to continue to practice those things that I do really well and continue to get even better on my scoring. The last thing that I did pretty well was trust drills. And I knew going out that I'd have a lot of question marks in the back of my mind. And being able to trust my swing is a key component of being confident, making confident swings, and hitting the shot that I'm envisioning for my strategy. I would say I'd give myself a grade of about a B to a B plus on the trust drills. I really had a good job of focusing on targets, but I will say that in the back of my mind there was a little bit of question about what was going to happen, especially after I airmailed my first couple of 8 irons, 7 irons over the green. And that's a really challenging thing to overcome when you're playing, because if you don't completely trust your swing, there's a tendency to want to try to control the swing. So I had to work really hard throughout the round to say, no, I trust my swing, and here's my strategy, commit to my strategy, and let it go. It'll either work or it won't, but I knew that if I didn't trust my swing, the odds would go down for me to hit a really good shot. And a lot of these are drills that I've adapted and taken from Glenn Albaugh in his book, Winning the Battle Within, where he talks about how important trust is in the swing. Okay, so the next steps for me, I'm going to go out to the range. So I'm going to walk you through some of the things that I do and think about while I'm doing my practice, and you can actually see me doing some of the practice drills while I work on improving my direction with my driver, and I'm going to gap my wedges, and then I'm going to work on some of my putting and my trust drills. So that'll be the next steps in my practice session. The next steps for you, for the next high performance coaching, visit my website at targetcentergolf.com and learn to start playing golf a little bit better. See you in the next video.